Mike, can you tell us a little bit about the contract, the length of it, and the amount?
It's a 5-year contract. Its base pays $400,000, a supplemental compensation of $1 million. So the guaranteed contract or the total annual compensation is $1.4 million, and as I said, it's for 5 years.
I think I broke it. Was there one overriding factor with Coach Gross that drew you to him through this process?
I don't think it was necessarily one factor, Paul, but you know, when you look at the total makeup of a coach, and as I've said it before, their competitive success, and you know, even where that competitive success has happened, there was even questions about his regular season record, and I think we'd all agree when you look at programs that you've inherited, and sometimes people inherit programs that are already at a better place, which might contribute to having greater success early on at those kind of programs. But I think the mark obviously is the kind of success that you have at the end of the year, and knowing the kind of programs that Ohio you had when it counted most, 2 of the last 3 seasons. And certainly he's an outstanding recruiter. And as Coach Gross said, you know, there's a lot of great coaches out there that don't have players, and then you see it's reflected in their record. And you've got to get players, and it's important that not only to get players, you get somebody who understands this geographic footprint and how to coach or how to recruit in the Big Ten Conference, which actually, no doubt, at Ohio State with Thad Matta, they were recruiting high-level players, a lot of high-level players that we'd love to have at the University of Illinois. As Coach Gross also said, I think it's about fit. And you've got to, you know, I think we'd all agree, you want to have somebody that wants to be here. And he's excited about being here. His life, for the most part, other than a little bit of time, I think, spent in Raleigh, has been in the Midwest. He understands the culture. He understands his conference. He will understand Champaign. He'll be a big part of it. And I truly believe he'll be a big success.
We just heard the coach's rundown of the last few days. Why don't you give us your rundown of the last 2 weeks?
Well, it's been a very thorough and comprehensive process. As you know, we engage the services of a search firm. We had a search committee with all processes. You have a list that you begin to work with. That list gets tweaked as the process goes along. You identify those candidates. You gauge their interest. You figure out who has mutual interest. You go down that path, and before you know it, you're going through a negotiation process, which started in the last couple days, and going through the thorough background checks, which are part of that our search firm went through that process for us. And then at the end of the day, you're ending up at a press conference like this. So for me, the process went, how the process played out went according to plan, and I feel good about the end result.
When you're in the process, is it correct to contact a coach before his season is over? I mean, do you feel like you need to wait 24 to 48 hours before making more than just background checks on a coach in terms of his playing season?
Is it correct? Well, I don't, you know, I'm sure that there are people who contact coaches before their seasons come to conclusion. I'm not one of those people, because I certainly believe in that, and I know if I was sitting on the other side, I would want that respect from others who are out excuse me, looking for coaches. So that process really starts right away, but different than a football search where most regular, you know, everybody in regular season wise ends in the first week of December. Then, you know, you can really get that process started, and you can pay attention to a lot of people at one time. The difference with a men's basketball or a women's basketball search is that if they're in postseason play, it's kind of a moving target, because you're waiting for those coaches to finish their postseason. So that's why it's a little bit more fluid, and you just have to be ready for those that you want to talk to when the final whistle's blown. You don't make that call. You don't ring their cell phone when they're walking off the court after that final horn, but you certainly don't give it much air before you talk to them to begin that process.
Mike, so what was the holdup from Tuesday to now? Because originally we thought there was going to be an announcement, and then there wasn't, and then all kinds of reports started swirling that maybe it was a diversity issue, which they then later denied. So it was hammering out details for the past 48 hours that held the pressure up since Tuesday?
Well, I'm not sure who said it was supposed to be done on Tuesday, or who said it was supposed to be done on Wednesday. That didn't come from me, and that didn't come from anybody who was very involved in the process. And to say that there was a flaw or a hiccup in the process because others thought a decision or a press conference was supposed to happen 2 days ago, that's not true. And the process played out accordingly. We actually started the negotiation process on Tuesday. We completed those last night, and certainly here today to announce our new head men's basketball coach, John Gross.
I know there was a lot of talk about the facilities here at Illinois and perhaps in some of the early process of this search with some other candidates, maybe talk about redoing Assembly Hall. Where is that process now, and what is your plan for upgrading the facilities?
The plan for upgrading the facilities, that's a great question. An often asked question, but not one lately. It was part of the discussions with the different coaching candidates, including Coach Gross, but really more with the fact that whoever that person is going to be a key person in this project come to fruition. We've hired architects and engineers. They're putting schematic designs. They're putting drawings together. We're supposed to have those in place this summer, and then we can really go out and sell this project, which I'm very confident will happen in the near future.
How much input will you have or have you had on how this staff is assembled? How much do you value having someone with Chicago recruiting ties on the staff? And also just, I know you put a lot of faith in Jerence Howard, as you said. How important is it to you to have him remain on the staff?
Well, as Coach Gross said, you know, he has obviously an interest in talking to Coach Howard, and he has some ideas on what he would like to see the makeup of his staff. I've always been a believer that head coaches should have the latitude to bring in their own assistant coaches. I do believe, from my conversations with Coach Gross, that he will have a staff that has experiences in Chicago, and Chicago is important. Chicago is a critical piece of the puzzle for us to have success in the future. There's no doubt about that.
Are you planning on giving Ubben a facelift anytime in the near future?
That's under discussion to tweak Ubben. Can't tell you right now what that would look like and what that timeline would be, but at some point in time that will be part of the plan. Right now, my number one focus related to facilities is the building we're all sitting in right now, Assembly Hall.